Hello everyone, Ollie here from 𝕣𝕬𝕚𝕚. If you're not following us on Instagram, last night I posted on our story that I'm going to be watching The Nun II today. So obviously The Nun II is the sequel to the first Nun, which I just rewatched, which was, my god, a chore. So it is part of the Conjuring universe. I have the box set right here that I've had, well, since The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the third proper Conjuring film released in 2021, so this probably came out when The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It came out on Blu-ray, so I guess they made the box set, which is great. But until The Nun II comes up, I hope they will make another new box set for The Nun II. Let's just hope that one's good, because, my god, I gotta tell you, getting through the first Nun, again, is just... It just feels like you just wasted an hour and a half of your life. It just... Now, for people that are just casual fans, casual horror fans, you may enjoy this just because of how bad it is, or just maybe enjoy it as a whole. I mean, if you are one of those people, then what? I just can't. I just cannot see anyone really enjoying this, like in terms of story-wise, because the story's bare bones basically. I'm not going to get into too much detail of the first film. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on every single Conjuring universe film. So yeah, as I just mentioned, I just rewatched the first Nun, which, from what I heard, is going to be playing a big part in the second one. Well, some of the stuff that was in the first one that is going to be carried on from the second one, especially the ending if you've watched the film. So if you haven't watched the first film, I mean, I would say spoilers ahead, but who cares? Because, in my opinion, I just think the film is just woof. Yeah, if you really do care, don't watch or skip ahead until I talk about my other feelings for the other films. But yeah. So at the end of the first film, I'm not going to get into too much detail on the other parts of the first film, but basically at the very end it is revealed that basically Frenchie, the farmer, who's the comic relief of the first film, because there's only really three main characters in this one. We got the nun, played by 𝕣𝕬𝕚𝙸𝙴, the youngest sister of Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine Warren, of course, if you know the Conjuring universe, which is just really, why, unless they tie it together, if she's like the younger version of Lorraine Warren, and let's say she changes her name in the second one at the end, because I don't know, I'm hearing a lot of theories that they might reveal that she is indeed the young version of Lorraine Warren, which would make sense, because why would they cast the younger sister of Vera Farmiga in this without any connections with each other, whether that is a relative or, which would make more sense, because it's only like 20-30 years into the past from the first Conjuring film, because the first Conjuring's in the 70s, I believe, the early mid-70s, the first one. But yeah, I kind of do hope they do reveal that in the second one, because if it's not, then that's just, why would they, I don't know, I just feel like that's a bit stupid. Casting the sister of a character that's already in the universe is ridiculous, but she does okay, 𝕣𝕬𝕚𝙸𝙴. I mean, I really like her as an actor, but in this, she's, I don't know, it's just her dialogue, the script with it. Speaking of the script, it's just, god, the dialogue is just, oof. I mean, I've heard worse dialogue, but I'm just saying, for the Conjuring universe, especially the first two, I mean, they're pretty decent, but compared to this, my god. So basically, it starts off with this, I believe it is in 1952 this is set. So basically, these two nuns go down into catacombs, which is where the door is to God Ends Here, but it's in a different language, so they basically translate it on subtitles, and yeah. And basically they're just like, oh, are we sure this is gonna work? And they're like, oh, have faith, sister, or whatever. And the oldest one of the two goes in and basically gets her ass ripped apart, and then basically the young one takes the key, which is important for later on in the film. The key, which basically, when you find out, is basically it unlocks this little passage, or this little passage which contains the blood of Jesus Christ, this little relic which contains the blood of Jesus Christ. I just found, I mean, the actors in this, the main three, so you obviously, as I mentioned, Sister Irene, who is played by 𝕣𝕬𝕧𝕚𝕚, who is Vera Farmiga's younger sister. And then you got Maurice, I believe his real name is, which is revealed at the end of the film, aka Frenchie, as his friends fucking call him. Which friends? I mean, I know all horror films should have some, some tidbits of comedy in it, not to keep it depressing, but I don't know, the comedy in this didn't feel right for the tone it was trying to do, even though the tone's it's just all over the place, including that comedy. But anyway, all in all, I think this film, the first Nun film, is very tame, generic, shit for a story. The script was oof. Again, I've seen worse horror films, but the one of the main things that I like about this film, the first Nun, is the atmosphere. Tone, I mean, I wish they'd made a better tone, but the atmosphere that they used, the location, the castle, I've forgotten the name of the castle, but it's actually in Romania. Really good, but the way they utilised it, and I don't know, some things didn't make sense, but yeah, all in all, it is my least favourite film in the Conjuring universe. Anyway, to the next ones. So I guess we're just going down to release date, I guess. So the first Conjuring I really liked. Not as good as I remember it being when I first watched it, because it does get you when you first watch it. Yeah, when you watch this film several times, it just obviously doesn't hit you as hard as the first time. Because the good Conjuring films, which I'll talk about later on, do hit you when you first watch them, maybe the second time as well, but after three or more times, it just, it doesn't hit you as much, but it's still decent. They're the three decent films I would say in this, in the Conjuring universe, is the first two films, the first two Conjuring films, and Annabelle Creation, which we'll get to. So the Conjuring, the first one's good, decent, not as good as I remember it being, but still decent. The first Annabelle, again, like the Nun, pretty tame, but it's tonally different, of course. It's more gothic, that one, whereas this one's just, aside from one scene in the film, Annabelle, in the basement scene, if you know what I'm talking about, they tried to do something there, but I don't know, it kind of just falls flat, really. But yeah, I've only rewatched the first Nun today, so I haven't seen the other ones in a while. First Annabelle's a huge letdown. Not that I really care, because Annabelle's not really all that scary, to be honest. Next, The Conjuring 2, my favourite in the Conjuring universe. Based in Britain, the Enfield case is great, the introduction to the Nun, so good. She's very well orchestrated in that film, compared to the fucking first Nun. I'm hoping in the second film, they utilise it really well. So yeah, I love The Conjuring 2, really well put together, best James Wan film, without a doubt, and also the best Conjuring universe film. Annabelle Creation's the best spin-off in the universe so far. Let's see what happens with the Nun II. Yeah, Annabelle Creation, then the Nun. I'll just explain what I thought about that piece of shit. The Curse of La Llorona, some people consider it to be part of the universe. Some say it's loosely based, which I guess that makes sense. The reason why I say it's loosely, because there's characters in the other films, like the first Annabelle the Priest. Yeah, I can't really remember that one. I think I've only watched that once or twice. It's alright. Annabelle Comes Home. It's alright. It's not great. And then The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which was a huge letdown from the first two films. I did watch that recently, but it was alright. But yeah, I'm hoping the Nun II is just as good as all the other spin-offs. And The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, I want it to be really good. Please be better than that shit predecessor, please. See, I'm gonna head out now, guys. Go watch The Nun II. Wish me luck.
This demon, it's been protecting a secret.
I know what it wants.
The Nun, Chapter 2, rated R.
Alrighty, just got back from seeing The Nun II. Oh god, after you watch a film in the cinema, you're just like really delirious. Well, I won't say delirious, but you take in the film and you have to think about it for a while before discussing it. Yeah, I went to go watch this with my dad, who he's also I'd say he's a fan of the Conjuring universe. We've watched the films together up until, you know, the recent one before the NUN II, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, aka The Conjuring 3, which you weren't the biggest fans of, but you know. So anyway, went with my dad to go watch this, because Rusty didn't want to go watch it, because if he watched our Blue Beetle review at the end, I say, oh, I might go watch the NUN II, and I mentioned that Rusty would not go watch the film because he basically hates horror films, because he's a scaredy cat. Mine might be the NUN II. That's something that he's definitely not going to go watch because it's a horror film, which, I mean, I don't blame him, you know. Some don't like him, and I respect that, of course. But yeah, I was, obviously after the first one, as I mentioned earlier on the video, about my thoughts on the first film, I was not a very big fan of it, so I was very cautiously optimistic about this, because I wanted it to be good, but I was like, oh god, please don't be bad, please. And whilst it wasn't, it was not as bad as the first one, of course. It was not. It was actually, it was good. It was good. It definitely had a much better script. Dialogue wasn't nearly as cringy or horrendous as the first one, and the characters you sympathise with, like, you actually care about them. Whereas when I watched the first one, I couldn't give a rat's ass if any of them fucking died. Including Irene, really, because she was better in this one. I think everyone was actually better. The returning characters from the first one, which are actually only, I believe, Irene and Maurice, or Frenchie as he was known as in the first one. Maurice was much better in this because, as I mentioned, I can't remember if I have or not, but I probably briefly mentioned Maurice or Frenchie at the beginning of this video when I was talking about the first one. His comedic relief of the first film didn't really fit. It just didn't land, really. It just felt a bit, it kind of misfired. It didn't really suit, it didn't suit the tone of the film, but to be fair, the script didn't help whatsoever. Like, god, some of the lines, their delivery, but, you know, the point is, Maurice did a much better job in this one. Well, the actor who portrayed Maurice in this one, he was way more likeable. There was a point in the film, which I'm going to mention right now, you worry that he might die because he's way more likeable in this one. You don't really, something that's good, most of the plot, well, the main plot, isn't really revealed in at least the first trailer. I think there's only one trailer for this film. Was it a teaser or no, it was an official trailer. No other trailers were released, and I was a little bit worried about that, because usually the studios release like at least three trailers, and then maybe like a few TV spots like on their socials, like Instagram, whatever. And like the first one, they only released a teaser trailer for the first film, and I was a bit like, oh, okay. But then when I saw the first film for the first time, I was like, okay, yeah, that's why there was only a teaser trailer, because there was bare bones in it. And then when I saw that there was only one trailer for this film, I was like, oh, does this mean I'm glad? But after seeing that first film and seeing that only had one trailer, I was a bit like, oh god, are they gonna go very little in this one as well, if not worse? Like, are they gonna delve into more of a history of Valak, or who Sister Irene really is? Because obviously, so there was always this speculation of Sister Irene being revealed as either a younger Lorraine Warren, or at least related to Lorraine. And we do have an answer to that, or I have an answer to that, which I will talk about later, because obviously I don't want to talk spoilers right now. So for people that are fans of the Conjuring universe, the films, and you're curiously optimistic like I was about this, because if you've watched the first one and you didn't like it, you may obviously feel the same as me. So the question is, would I recommend you to go watch this one, especially after watching that? In my opinion, I mean, I'm sure there's probably not many people that will disagree with me. At least I hope, anyway. I usually respect everyone's opinions, but that film was just oof. But excuse me. But that first film was just such a disappointment. Anyway, so do I recommend this film to other Conjuring fans? Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I mean, it's part of the Conjuring universe, so it almost kind of feels like you have to, but I would still definitely recommend watching the film. Give it a go. You may not like it. You may obviously go in with an open mind, because it is good. While it's not one of the top tier Conjuring films, it's not one of the worst. It's one of the middle of the road ones. Yeah, I thought Sister Irene was better. I thought French, or Maurice as he's known in this, is much better. The father, what's his name? Father Burek, whatever his name is. Yeah, he's not in it for a reason, and obviously I'll get to that in spoilers. So yeah, to wrap up this spoiler-free section of the review, all in all, I'd say it's a much better script than the first one. That's saying something. Characters were much better, or the returning characters anyway, and also some of the new ones were good as well. Storm Reid, who I didn't really know until the Suicide Squad, because she plays Idris Elba's daughter, but the character. Yeah, so that's when I first noticed her, and then she's also in another horror film called Missing, which I hadn't watched yet, but I'll definitely try and check it out at some point. But yeah, apart from those two films, I don't think she's really in anything else that I know. Yeah, she was good. Storm Reid was good. 𝕬𝕬 𝕬𝕬 was good. Yeah, Maurice was a much better character in this one than the other one, because, you know, I already mentioned it. But yeah, characters were pretty good for the most part. Of course, we got to go for the main star of the film. The one that we came here for is, of course, Bonnie Aarons' performance as Valak, or the nun. Yeah, it really is Valak and not the nun, because is it spoilery? Not really. I mean, if I get into it, but I will say this: she isn't just the nun in this. That's all I'll say, and then I'll get to more of that in spoilers. But anyway, yeah. Go watch it if you're a Conjuring Universe fan. Also, go and watch it if you are a casual horror fan. If you like demonic possession type films, it's good. Definitely give it a chance and, yeah, give it a watch. Obviously, you may like it, you might not, I don't know, depending on what type of horror films you like. Obviously, I'm guessing that for people that are watching it are horror fans, otherwise if you're not, then why are you here? Yeah, I was surprised, I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty surprised of how much better it was than the first one. So again, I was very curiously optimistic about this one, because that first one, I said it numerous times, but it's just embarrassing. Yeah, it's definitely a big step up to the first film. So yeah, go check it out if you are a Conjuring Universe fan, or if you are a casual horror fan. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up with my spoiler-free review. Now I'm going to talk about some spoilers. So stop watching if you don't want to know anything. And if you want to go watch it and then come back, please feel free to. So, let's go with the main thing that people were probably, well, Conjuring Universe fans that watched the first one are a bit disappointed about, seeing if Sister Irene was related to Lorraine Warren, or if she was a younger version of Lorraine Warren, because obviously, for people that don't know, and if you've watched the start of the video, I said that obviously 𝕬𝕬 𝕬𝕬 is related to Vera 𝕬𝕬 because they look very much alike, and to me it would be a very much wasted opportunity, really, in my eyes anyway, for them not to be related or the same person, because I mean, they look very much alike. Like, why would you? It's such a coincidence that they would cast the sister of a character that's already been introduced in this universe and not have them related. It's a bit, or have them be the same person but younger. It's just a bit stupid in my eyes. I mean, you guys might have different opinions. I'm sure most of you may agree. But I don't know. I mean, I can see that, but if you don't, then okay. But the answer is they don't. They don't reveal that she is Lorraine or she isn't. So this kind of tells me that she isn't, unless again they'll tell us in a future Conjuring film. Speaking of Conjuring, let's go quickly to the post-credit scene. I think there's only one. I mean, we only stuck around to one. We didn't think there was a second one. If there is, then I'll probably go check it out once I've stopped recording. But the post-credit we seen, or the mid-credit scene, was a tease for the Conjuring 4. I think it's called The Conjuring: The Last Rites. A bit of a weird title, but anyway. So yeah, there was a little tease. So you saw Ed and Lorraine and Judy. Judy was on the phone to someone saying, "Oh, Dad, this is for you." Well, and Mum, but you know, she gave it to Dad, obviously Ed. And it was one of the priests from the Vatican, and said, "We need you. It's an emergency." And it cuts back to credits. So, yeah, that was cool. I'm glad we got a tease of Ed and Lorraine, and obviously because I did know that the Conjuring 4 was already, you know, mentioned. So that was cool. But yeah, enough said about the fourth Conjuring film that they teased. Back to the actual main film, because I thought I'd mention the post-credit scene quick, or mid-credit scene. Yeah, so it wasn't like any major ties to the actual film, but it's just a teaser to the upcoming next Conjuring film. So yeah, I'm curiously optimistic about the fourth one, because that third one was okay. It wasn't anything special, but yeah. Anyway, enough of the post or mid-credit scene. Let's get back straight to the NUN II. So a little bit of a disclaimer. I say disclaimer, but me and my dad managed to, you know, work it out once, you know, the film got going. Later on when they revealed the stuff, but we unfortunately missed about maybe 5 minutes, if that, of the film. The opening, anyway. And apparently, again, this is obviously the spoiler sections for people that have been watching. Obviously, you already hadn't been spoiled. And obviously, if you haven't watched it and you don't care, or if you have watched it, then obviously, yeah, listen. Obviously, basically, we think it obviously starts off with the murders of the priests. I think it's the priests or nuns. I can't remember, but the people that were killed. The Irene and I've forgotten the other nun. You know, Storm Reed's character nun. I can't remember her name. But yeah, they find out, according to the other members of the Vatican, basically explain, oh, these, you know, they show pictures of the other people or the other priests getting murdered by Valak. Again, I don't know if Valak was the nun, because we missed that scene or that sequence at the beginning of the film. So yeah, I can't say what it was, but if you've seen the film, then you already know. So obviously I'm gonna have to, when I buy the film, because I definitely will be buying the film, because I've got the collection up here. Let me grab it, actually. Where's the... There. So yeah, earlier on I showed you the box set of the... Get back in. Yeah, so obviously I showed you that at the start of the video. I had it down here. But I'm definitely going to buy it on possibly 4K once it comes out. I did see a steelbook of it actually already released. Well, revealed, rather. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to get that. I'm probably just going to get regular 4K. Because obviously I want to complete the collection. So obviously I'm going to have to watch the beginning to understand, you know, the rest of the film. But we're pretty sure we pieced it together and we understand what happened at the start. So we didn't miss much, which is good. So it opens up with that, I'm pretty sure, and then we... basically we get back to Sister Irene, who's in Italy, I think it's Italy, and she's basically living at this nunnery now, with Storm Reed, who's obviously our new character that we're introduced to. And then we've got a bunch of other nuns, and then they talk about the story of the first one, the events that happened in the first one, saying, and obviously she isn't revealed as the nun, because there's the story that this one nun tells them about. I think it's the mother, well, the head nun, or is it the abbess? I think the abbess. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. But she basically told the story of Frenchie, obviously not naming the names, but the priest, the farmer, and the nun, but obviously not naming them. other than Maurice and Father Burke, but not not Irene for some reason. So obviously Irene walks out being like, oh, because she's basically traumatized after that, after the events of the first one. So there's some visitors that come to the nunnery from the Vatican, and they inform her about the deaths of the other nuns, like in the first one. But it was also much better structured out. And also, I believe the one of the members of the Vatican, or the Baptist, no, was he the Baptist? The older guy, he was the same guy. He was the same guy from the same guy who told Father Burke, I believe, who's not in this one. He's actually dead, by the way. When I mentioned that he wasn't in it, he's actually dead, which is good, because to be fair, I didn't, no offense to the actor, but I just didn't like his character, the way they made him. But anyway, so Father Burke was deemed as dead, or revealed as dead, according to the Vatican, that Father Burke was dead. And yeah, so I can't remember what the reason why, but anyway, it's really mad, to be honest. Yeah, he's not really mentioned ever since, so yeah. So yeah, so the Vatican come and inform Sister Irene that the nuns, or the priests, were basically killed by Valak, not knowing that they were. I think they didn't know it was Valak, but they were mysteriously killed or murdered. So basically, they send Irene to investigate in France the boy who was involved, a victim of the murders. That I believe was in the opening. We caught a glimpse of the opening of it. Basically, there was a priest who I guess was one of them that was murdered, and then you got the little boy, not the son of the head mistress at the boarding school, but you got another little boy. He's not in it all that much, but yeah, basically she goes to see him, and he doesn't really explain all that well to her when she finally bumps into him. But then Irene goes to see Maurice, and then basically, with her knowing that Maurice is, he's got Valak in him. After the first one, obviously that snake going in his mouth, and basically possessing him, because obviously Valak, of course, wasn't, she didn't get trapped under the ground when they obviously, put the the blood of Jesus Christ, I believe. That was ridiculous, but anyway. So basically Valak obviously survived, of course, hence why there's a second film. So yeah, Valak ended up being in Maurice, or, well, since the ending, obviously you see the upside down cross in its neck. So yeah, that was the tease at the end, obviously. But yeah, so they end up supposedly getting out Valak of Maurice. Spoiler wise, any more spoilers wise, we also get some other side plots, including the headmistress of the boarding school that Frenchie's now at. He's basically the gardener, farmer of the school. He's the groundskeeper, should I say, of the boarding school. Yeah, he, like I said before, he's much better in this. I keep saying Frenchie. Maurice is much better, as I said earlier. He's much better in this. His role is much better in this than the first one. Because his role in the first one felt like a joke, and it just felt too comical, and it just didn't fit. Whereas in here, he's very heartwarming with the main little girl Sophie, who's Irish. It's quite heartwarming, their friendship. God, and those girls, those bullies are bitches. God, I was hoping that Valak would snatch them the fuck up and just kill them, but obviously they're kids, so they get smacked up a little bit, but they don't get killed, which is a bit annoying, but they're kids. Oh yeah, I gotta mention, so I'm gonna be all over the place, so I apologise. I'm not gonna talk about every single aspect of the film, but when I mentioned that Valak is not just the nun in this, a goat as well, because the girls that bully Sophie, they say a legend about apparently there's a goat, obviously he's the demon, or the devil rather. Valak shapeshifts into a goat, And my dad, when we watched the film, oh god, there's gonna be a goat, and I was like, no, it's not gonna be a goat. And when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, there's a goat. Because there was like this glass window with a goat on it, and then once it gone, my dad was just like, oh god, there's gonna be a goat in this. And I was kind of denying it. I was like, is there really gonna be a goat? And then you hear like footsteps upstairs, where the girls are like, oh, there's something upstairs. And then there's this big jump scare of the goat. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, there was some unexpected stuff in this, which I was quite surprised about. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. They find the eyes of what was the eyes of? I can't remember. They found the eyes, which were in the little chapel, which was locked up by the headmistress because of the incident with her son that happened. So they locked up for a good reason. I'm trying to remember what the eyes of the eyes of Saint Lucy. I'm glad we didn't get to see those eyes, because it's cool to see that we didn't get to actually see the eyes. It was just kind of a mystery a little bit, because we don't need to see everything. But anyway, so that was interesting. It's definitely a film I need to rewatch again so that I can get everything. But yeah, I am a happy fan for a Conjuring Universe fan. I'm happy. I'm not like overly satisfied, but I'm happy. I'm glad that it was much better than the first one. Script was much better. Characters were much better. It was just great. Like I was pleasantly surprised. After that first horrific film, damn. But anyway, if you guys have any questions below regarding the Nun II, let me know what you think of the film. If you want to go watch it, whether you are a Conjuring Universe fan or if you're just a casual horror fan in general, please let me know what you guys thought and what's your rating. Speaking of rating, let me give you mine. For the first time, I'm going to go half, so I'm going to go with 3.5 stars, so that's 6.5 out of 10. I'm going to be not too generous, but I'm going to be, I'm going to try and be, because, once you're out of the cinema watching a film, you're like, what do I give it? Is it as good as it was? Because when you rewatch a film, you might, it's not as good as when I first saw it. But so, if you have any questions, if there's anything that I haven't mentioned, like spoiler-wise, about the film, please let me know what you want to know, and I'll happily answer them as much as I can. And, that's my review for the Nun II. Overall, much better than the first one. Script better. The script is better. Dialogue is much better. The reoccurring cast members, the reoccurring characters with the cast were much better written. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I guess, again, questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer every single one of them. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the Nun II. I'm curious to see what the next Conjuring film is. Of course, that's probably going to be the Conjuring 4, as they teased in the mid or post-credit scene. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for that.